Hi, this is God, Shamm God,
And I'm Jose.
and this is Talk to God. Hi, this is God, Shamm God. I'm here with my brother Eric Harris and Jose, and this is Talk to God. How you doing, E. Harris,
I'm
man?
blessed, brother.
My
Harris, my boy, my friend.
brother. So, for people that don't know, growing up in New York City in the '90s, playing against a lot of great competition. I was known as a great ball handler and stuff like that. This is like one of my hardest matchups because he was New York City defensive stopper.
Number one stopper.
So, he played D more than, anybody I've ever met in my life and things like that. So how's everything been with you, man?
Shamm, I'm blessed. I just want to thank you for having me on. I tell
always,
you all
man.
the time, I'm so happy for your success, brother.
I appreciate
For
it.
those that don't know, you won't find a more genuine, down-to-earth, and real brother than you.
You blushing again,
So
y'all.
I'm just happy for your success, and thank you for having me on, brother.
I appreciate it. I think it's important to have people like you on here because, you're a success in your own right and things like that. I don't want it always to be about people that's in the NBA that people always know about and things like that because in this life of basketball, you meet so many genuine people in your life, and there's so many jobs outside of just the NBA, and doing this for a long time, seeing your success as one of the great trainers coming up, training people in basketball, training pros, and the man behind the scenes of making these great players. When did you come to that conclusion, having a great high school career, that we could talk about in a few minutes. You growing up in St. Raymond's and you being one of those elite dudes in New York City. How was that for you and growing up in New York City in that era?
Well, Shamm, and pardon me for calling you Shamm. Everybody else calls you God, Shamm God, but I got to call you Shamm. Basketball is a common denominator, so once you finish playing and the ball stops bouncing, if you can still stay attached to it, for us being trainers and developing the next wave of players, it's a blessing. So being able to stay a part of the game that way, it was a way to stay relevant and but also give back. We have so much knowledge. We've been around the game for so long, especially in the golden era of New York City basketball. So training and development was just something that I love, and I would do it for free if I could.
And growing up in New York, we're so competitive and being the best players we could possibly be. You going to Minnesota in that time, where did you see maybe I can make it to the NBA, I'm gonna try, and then where did you come to the conclusion you know what, I'm gonna go a different route and give back and make players better and help players become NBA players?
Well, when we came up, the talent level was so much talent.
Yeah.
Playing against you, you were one of the toughest guys I ever had to guard and compete against. So playing against those type of players, you, Felipe, Stephon, that just got you better as a player. But after my playing days, my dream, we all dreamed of playing in the NBA.
For sure.
And, when that dream doesn't happen, you just want to stay a part of the game that you love. So, once I realized it wasn't going to happen for me, I played overseas a little bit, but we love to develop and we love to give back. So it's just a blessing to still stay a part of the game and, now trying to make it to the level that you're on. So it's just a constant journey and, God willing, things will continue to fall in place.
What's the hardest challenge in dealing with this era of basketball players because there's so much entitlement and so much oh, I'm going to make it no matter what and things like that. So when you first meet a player or somebody try to, introduce you to a player and ask, hey, can you help him and things like that, what is your mindset going into that?
My first question is, do you like the game or do you love the game?
Good
Because
question.
if you love it, you're going to do whatever it takes to get to whatever level you aspire to be on. So, I push the clients that I work with very hard, and it's a mental thing. When we came up, there was no, nowadays you go to the gym and you just go up and down, play pickleball. When we came up, it was no plan. You had to work, you had to do the conditioning, you had to do the strength stuff before you even touch the basketball. So we were built with that mindset early, and that's what I try to do with the kids I work with now, just trying to prepare them mentally. So do you like it or do you love it? If they love it, then we could go somewhere. But if they just like it and it's just something that they do from time to time, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to waste my time.
Question I have for you is, me watching you play in the city, you couldn't stand when somebody scored on you. You changed the game defensively. What made you take the game that way when everybody's known for offense and you're known for defense? You're one of the few players that I ever seen that changed and influenced the game defensively. Why did you take that standard?
Well, I have to give my dad that credit, Eric Harris Sr. I played on the New York City Gauchos, Shamm, Felipe Lopez, Stephon Marbury. So he told me, you're playing with so much talent, guys that are better than you offensively, so what are you going to do? How can you still be an asset to your team? And, defense was the thing. A coach is going to always need you on the floor if you can be a defensive stopper. I heard Danny Green's interview, and you have to be able to do multiple things. You just can't focus on one thing because, guys sometimes are going to be better than you. So how can you be an asset when you're playing on a team with Shamm and Steph and Felipe? I had to do something different. So that's what made me change my mindset at that stage.
Going through, your career and stuff like that, high school, college, overseas thing, who's probably the best player you ever played against and the toughest player you had to guard?
Well, like I said, Steph, Felipe, Jason Kidd in high school was, it didn't get no bigger than Jason Kidd back in high school. Damon Stoudemire, guys like that can shoot the ball, that can penetrate, create for others. Trying to contain those type of players was tough, but it just continued to make me better as a player, and like I said, I give you credit, man. Playing against you, the scouting report going into those St. Raymond's LaSalle games.
Battles.
Battles, man. Legendary battles. You, Steve McDowell. So those moments, man, I'll never forget. But like I said, you've always remained the same in terms of your humbleness. You were a McDonald's All-American. You got to the league, but you were always humble. So those battles, I'll never forget.
So for you, now, your next step in your journey, congratulations on getting your degree and things like that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where we come from, that's a success within its own self and, always need to be acknowledged. But now, in your journey now, where do you see yourself and what do you want to become in the next, couple of years or even next year,
Well, I'm claiming it. My thing is I worked on a high school level and worked with some college guys that had some success. Russell Smith, he was one of the best guys I ever worked with, and he was a NCAA champion. But it's time for me, I feel, to experience what working with the best players in the world is all about. So you've been an inspiration. You talked about the degree, you went and got yours. So trying to get on that level, it's going to take some time, but I'm claiming that I'm going to be there, this upcoming year.
So if a team right now wanted Eric Harris, what would they be getting from Eric Harris that separates him from the next guy that wants the same job?
Well, I'm in Minneapolis now. I just moved back to the Twin Cities. So a player like Josh Okogie, my thing is, how would it be for a team to have 5 Josh Okogies out there, guys that can do both things, can score and can defend on the other end of the ball. So I don't think it's popular playing defense and teaching guys how to play defense on that level, but I look at it like math. If you never learn multiplication, subtraction, and division, if you never learn those core things, it's going to be hard to pick it up years later. So guys that are in the NBA, if they've never been taught those fundamental things, it's hard for them to try to pick it up. But that's where a guy like me, I feel, can come in and try to get those guys to play defense.
I was watching the game this upcoming season, and I was looking at Patrick Beverly, and I said, I know E. Harris. I know when E. Harris watches him.
I love him.
He looks at himself. I know that's one of the players you love to watch play defense.
Pat Beverly. And I always tell kids they're paying guys a lot of money to do, whether it's play D, rebound, to do those things that most people are not willing to do. And Patrick Beverly is the prime example. He goes after. He doesn't care who you are. He's going to get on after you, pick up 94 feet.
Yep.
So I love seeing players like that. And I think the trend, it has to shift. Everything's offense now, so it has to balance out.
And coming from New York, the era we came in, a lot of drugs, a lot of killing and things like that. How was you able to navigate through all of that? We coming up in the 90s where drugs is at an all-time high, things like that. We seeing people get robbed, things like that. And basketball was the way out for me and you. You know what I'm saying? How did you navigate and stay in the same mind?
Well, you know what it is. We both had good support systems, a mom and dad at home, and I think that makes a big difference. They always steered me in the right direction, going to Catholic school, so I was a good guy. So basketball was that driving force. My mom always used to tell me if I didn't get good grades, I couldn't play basketball. So that kept me focused, you know.
And this question is for for you or Jose. It's like growing up, we didn't see a lot of things, but all of us up here remain humble enough to always want to give back to the community. Where Jose's on the microphones doing all the biggest tournaments in the city. You come in doing the camps, no matter what camp it was, you was there on deck. Where did that come from for both of y'all? You can answer first, then Jose can answer. But, like, where the love for New York, like just love for New York and making sure, because New York is so competitive and so, I don't want to say negative or jealous. I think it's more like envious of when somebody make it. Where did that come from for both of y'all?
Shamm, we just had basketball growing up in the 90s. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have laptops. Basketball was the vehicle to help you find peace or to help you find that enjoyment that you wanted. And we played all day long, whether it was rain, sleet, snow. Basketball was that vehicle, watching college basketball, watching NBA games. We just loved it, man. We just loved it. So there was no other out for us. If we wanted to play Division I basketball, our parents unfortunately couldn't afford to send us there, so basketball was the vehicle.
Me, I worked for the Board of Ed for over 20 years, and when I used to be driving to work, I used to be seeing Shamm guard at 5:36 in the morning in the dark, dribbling the ball coast to coast on the Hump 45th Street and Lenox Avenue. E. Harris, I remember when you was in the 8th, 9th grade, and watching you just develop and just change your game and the way you talked from the 8th grade to the 11th grade, how you matured as a man. Your father's a great guy, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
And he did a great job with you. So I'm a little older than y'all, so it makes me blush to see y'all become a man. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm proud of all of y'all. You, J5, Jason Wingate, Shamm guard, even Andre Barrett. I saw y'all as little kids. Danny Green, I saw him 12 years old when he played with Riverside. And look at y'all now, man. I'm proud of y'all, man.
Well, kudos.
Nice teeth, skin is clear. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, kudos to you, bro. Out of
I appreciate- I love y'all to
all
death.
of the street ball tournaments, you were the best
I
on the
appreciate
mic
it,
by
man.
far that
I
I've ever
appreciate
been
it, man.
associated with.
I appreciate it, man.
And Shamm, we only had 2 AAU teams in New York City.
Yeah, now
Gauchos,
it's-
Riverside.
Riverside,
So
Yeah, now it's 1,000 AAU teams. So growing up, because I know everybody know about all the people that made it. Growing up, who are some of the players that you saw that was great that didn't make it?
Man.
That you like? Who was like one that just resonate to you like clear cut?
there's tons of stories in terms of guys that were talented, but for whatever reason, they weren't disciplined enough to go to school, or they got caught up in situations. New York City, there's countless stories. Just tried to stay focused. When we played, with the Gauchos, you seen those older teams, and those were your role models. Seeing the senior Gaucho teams playing travel, so those were the guys we looked up to. They had success, so we wanted to be just like them, and that's how it worked out. We just loved the game, Shamm, and you know what it is, man. The competitiveness. We all competed when we were younger, but when we got off the court, we loved each other and we were brothers. So.
A question I asked someone else, I'm gonna ask you, E. Do you think kids not playing in the street, pickup games against older guys, did that make you tough?
Definitely. Definitely. Sorry to cut you off. I grew up in the South Bronx, and every day we played, no lie, 9 in the morning to 10 p.m. We just played. We were thirsty. We went to the hydrant to get water.
That's right.
There was no Gatorade. It was none of that. We just loved the game, and we just competed. And I think that's the one thing that's kind of missing out, the competition.
I agree.
Guys are too friendly.
Yes.
Shamm was my friend, but
On the
I
court.
wanted to compete against him. I wanted to get the best out of him. I wanted to beat him, but guys nowadays, there's just no competition.
Different era, man.
Now, like, all the stuff that's coming up in these next year or so, basketball season and stuff, you know, we all grew up, we all were sneakerheads and things like that. How amazing it is to see Puma, you know, evolving right in front of our eyes, and just to be a part of the Puma life and Puma family. You know, 5 years ago we couldn't see this happening, but right now, you know, it's evolving in front of our eyes. What do you think, and how do you see the brand in the next couple of years?
Puma's doing a great job. You know, I love the way that the brand is evolving, and you got to take some credit for that, man. You're a legend, living legend. So a lot of that I feel has to be accredited to you, bro. You know, you're a walking. You're a walking icon, man. You play the game at such a high level, and you being associated with the brand, you know, is major. But I just love what Puma's doing, and it's only gonna keep evolving.
Yeah, my biggest thing about Puma, even like, you know, signing with Puma, there's so much about the community, so much about the give back, and so much about telling everybody a unique story. If you look at everybody that's on the brand, they have their own unique story, you know, where they come from and what they're doing. And when you look at what Puma's putting into community and things like that, even like this podcast, you know what I'm saying, telling my story and telling great stories of countless of people that play in the NBA and my friends. I just think the brand, you know, there's no ceiling for the brand and things like that for years to come. And, you know, I just want to thank you for coming on, for being my brother. And, you know, we're going to make sure we see you in the NBA one day, training.
Yes,
you know, this is the first Kawhi Leonard, if everybody want to know.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And Patrick Beverly. So, you know, he's going to make another Patrick Beverly and Kawhi Leonard. Thanks for being on Talk to God.
This God's plan. Thank you for having me, Shamm.
Peace.